What's up, guys? It is Carly here bringing you your Tuesday review on Body Bags. It is week 245, and today I decided to go with a film called Godsend from the year 2004. Interesting story with this one. I remember back when I was a kid, it was probably around when this movie came out, honestly, because 2004, that's kind of when I was growing up, and one day my mom rented this one along with 1 Hour Photo, and we watched them back to back, and I remember not really liking either of them, and then this, both of them were kind of just forgotten in my mind, but came across this at Goodwill a few weeks back, and I thought it was pretty cool because, it's one of those movies I just kind of forgot about, and I really wanted to give it another watch to see if my opinions were different on it now, because, when you're a kid, things may seem boring or just not interesting, depending on what the subject matter is. So decided to pick this up, and anyway, the story here for this movie is you have this couple and they have an 8-year-old son. They're living a pretty happy life, but then one day their son Adam gets into an accident. He runs out in the street and gets hit by a car and he dies, and the parents are pretty devastated. Then they come across this doctor played by Robert De Niro. It is someone who I believe the wife knew in her past, and he explains that he is doing genetic research and has discovered a way to possibly clone their son and in a way have him reborn to where he comes back identical to the original son and kind of acts exactly like him, and in their mind, it'll be just like their son, Adam. So, this family's desperate, so they agree to do it, and everything goes well. They have another baby. They name him Adam. He looks just like the original Adam, and everything's fine until he turns 8, which is the age that the original Adam was when he died. So, when this kid turns 8, he starts experiencing some night terrors, and his personality becomes very dark and sinister in a way. So the parents are trying to discover what is going on with him, what kind of went wrong with the genetic stuff and all that. So that is the story there, basically. Going into this movie, I was honestly pretty interested in it. It really got my attention right off the bat because, first of all, I think it's a very creepy concept to clone someone or have someone come back to life. I always think about that in real life, how, I know people who have passed away, and no matter how much I miss them, I would be really creeped out if they came back to life. In my personal opinion, when you're dead, you're dead. You can miss the person, but I would never want to see that person up and walking around after they have passed away. So that concept alone just really creeps me out, and the fact that these parents, have this other baby and raise him, and then he looks just like their first son, and they name him the same name and everything like that. So right off the bat, I was pretty creeped out by that concept, as well as the way the son starts to change and have those scary dreams and things like that, and the parents don't really know what's going on. I think it's just really scary because, they knew stuff could possibly go wrong when he turned 8 years old. They were warned of that ahead of time, and they really don't really know what they're dabbling in because they're the first humans to have a cloned son, I believe. I think the doctor had cloned animals and things like that in the past, but had never done it with an actual person. So, it's pretty scary in that aspect, but I gotta say, this movie, the big problem with this movie is it kind of feels like it just goes on for a little too long. I believe it runs 102 minutes, and it could have easily been cut down by 20 minutes or so, in my opinion at least, because this feels very early 2000s, honestly. I've noticed with a lot of movies from the early 2000s, upon rewatch, that they always have that investigative thing going on for them. You have that in movies such as The Ring and stuff like that, where you have a lot of scenes of just the parents or whoever trying to discover what's going on, and they're going to all these places, and there's always these big research scenes and things like that, and you kind of get that going in this movie where the dad sets out to try to find out about the history of some other kid who is possibly taking over his son's spirit, body, whatever. And to me, it just kind of took me out of the movie. I got a little bit bored throughout it. There are some other creepy scenes in it. There are a few, jump scare moments and just a few eerie moments that really kind of got to me and gave me the creeps. So I will give it that, but just parts where people are out trying to investigate and things like that, I find to be just a little bit bland and boring, and just doesn't do it for me. Kind of takes me out of the film. Another thing about this movie is the kid, Adam. He's just kind of an annoying kid, kind of strange looking, honestly, and you kind of want to like him because you kind of feel bad for him for going through all this, and I just found him to be a little bit irritating and honestly just creepy to begin with, even when he's not supposed to be acting creepy or anything like that. I just find his overly nice personality to be disturbing and off-putting, which, it's fine, but at the same time, I feel like you're supposed to kind of feel for this character, and I really did not. So, yeah, overall, the movie's not too bad. Like I said, it starts out strong. The first half of it is pretty strong, but as you kind of go through it, I feel like it just kind of falls flat a little bit and becomes a little bit bland. So for me, at first I was going to give it a 7, but I decided to lower my rating to a solid 6 out of 10. It's a little above average, but nothing too special. I mean, all the performances are okay, and there's some creepy moments, but other than that, kind of forgettable. 6 out of 10 for Godsend. Thank you guys for joining me for this Tuesday review, and I will see you next week.